What if I told you that one of the most powerful speeches in American history was delivered by a woman who had been tortured by police, sterilized without her consent, and shot at 16 times? But she still stood before the nation and declared, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." August 22, 1964, Atlantic City, New Jersey. The Democratic National Convention. A black woman in a simple cotton dress walks to the microphone. Her name is Fannie Lou Hamer. She is 46 years old, a Mississippi sharecropper who picked cotton since age 6. Her body still bears the marks of police blackjacks, her kidneys permanently damaged, her vision impaired. But her voice is about to shake the entire nation. The committee room falls silent. Cameras roll. And for 15 minutes, this daughter of sharecroppers exposes the terror of Mississippi. The shootings, the beatings, the forced sterilizations. President Lyndon B. Johnson is so alarmed he interrupts her testimony with a hastily scheduled press conference. But it's too late. Her words are already burning into America's conscience. What happened to Fannie Lou Hamer was no accident. It was policy. A systematic campaign to silence, sterilize, and eliminate black women who dared to demand their rights. For decades, they buried her story. Until now. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Fannie Lou Hamer's story isn't just history. It's your stolen inheritance. You'll discover how in 1961, a Mississippi doctor sterilized Fannie Lou Hamer during a routine surgery without her knowledge or consent. This wasn't rare. It was called a Mississippi appendectomy, and thousands of black women were forcibly sterilized as part of a eugenics genocide campaign that lasted until the 1970s. You'll learn how in June 1963, Mississippi police arrested Hamer and forced black prisoners to beat her with loaded blackjacks until they collapsed from exhaustion. Then white officers continued the torture. She suffered permanent kidney damage, vision loss, and leg injuries that tormented her until her death. And you'll see how after being evicted from the plantation where she worked for 18 years, white supremacists fired 16 bullets into the home, where she was staying, missing her head by less than 1 foot. Yet she refused to stop registering black voters. This isn't ancient history. Your grandmother lived through this era. Your mother was born into a world where black women were sterilized, beaten, and murdered for demanding the right to vote. After this video, you'll never see reproductive justice, voting rights, or police brutality the same way again. And here's what they don't want you to know. The systems that destroyed Fannie Lou Hamer are still operating today. Different names, different methods, same goal. But before I show you how it connects to your life right now, you need to know her full story. Because what they did to this woman will make your blood boil. And what she did in response will make you stand taller. Fannie Lou Townsend was born October 6, 1917, in Montgomery County, Mississippi. The youngest of 20 children born to sharecroppers, James Lee and Lou Ella Bramlett Townsend. Think about that for a moment. 20 children. Her mother gave birth to 20 children while working as a sharecropper. That alone tells you about the brutal conditions black families endured. Her parents were enslaved in everything but name. Sharecropping kept black families in perpetual debt, working white-owned land for scraps. The system worked like this. You farmed land you didn't own. The white landowner provided seeds, tools, and a shack to live in. At harvest, he took most of the crop. He charged you for the seeds, the tools, the shack. He kept the books. And somehow, no matter how hard you worked, you always owed him more than you earned. You couldn't leave because you were in debt. You couldn't protest because you'd be killed. It was slavery with a paycheck that never came. In 1919, when Fannie Lou was just 2 years old, her family moved to the E.W. Brandon plantation in Sunflower County, the same delta soil that would witness her transformation from field worker to freedom fighter. Sunflower County, Mississippi. Remember that name. It will come up again and again in this story. because Sunflower County was ground zero for some of the worst racial terrorism in American history. At age 6, Fannie Lou started picking cotton, 6 years old. While other children were learning to read and playing games, she was in fields under the Mississippi sun, dragging a cotton sack nearly as big as her body. By age 13, she was picking 200 to 300 pounds a day. Her hands bled into white cotton, her back bent from the weight, her childhood stolen by the same system that had enslaved her grandparents. For 44 years, she worked the same plantation. 44 years. Think about that. Most people don't stay at one job for 44 years, even if they love it. Fannie Lou Hamer stayed because she had no choice, no education, no money, no way out. The plantation was her prison, and the white landowner was her warden. She married Perry Hamer, called Pap by everyone who knew him in 1944. They wanted children. They dreamed of family. They imagined grandchildren running through their home someday. But that dream would be stolen from them in the cruelest way imaginable. And we'll get to that horror in just a moment. But first you need to understand the world Fannie Lou Hamer lived in. Mississippi in the 1950s and 60s wasn't just segregated. It was a police state, a terrorist state. If you were black in Mississippi, you had no rights that white people were bound to respect. Police could beat you, mobs could lynch you, employers could starve you, and the law protected all of it. Less than 7% of eligible black citizens were registered to vote in Mississippi by 1962. 7%. Think about that. The 15th Amendment guaranteeing black men the right to vote was ratified in 1870. Nearly a century later, black Mississippians still couldn't vote. Poll taxes made it too expensive. Literacy tests made it impossible. White violence made it deadly. And here's what most people don't know. It wasn't just that black people couldn't vote. It's that most black Mississippians didn't even know they had the right to vote. The system kept them ignorant on purpose. No one told them. No one taught them. If you asked, you'd be fired. If you tried, you'd be killed. Fannie Lou Hamer was 44 years old before she learned she had a constitutional right to vote. 44. Born in 1917. Lived through 2 world wars. Raised in America. And never once told she could vote. That's not accident. That's not oversight. That's systematic oppression designed to keep an entire population powerless. On August 31st, 1962, everything changed. Fannie Lou Hamer attended a Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee meeting at Williams Chapel, Missionary Baptist Church in Ruleville, Mississippi. SNCC pronounced. SNCC was a civil rights organization of young activists, mostly college students, who came to Mississippi to register black voters. These young people, many of them teenagers and 20-somethings, walked into the most dangerous state in America and said, "We're going to help people vote." They knew they might die. Some of them did die, but they came anyway. At that church meeting, SNCC workers explained voting rights. They explained the Constitution. They explained that black people had the legal right to vote, and that the only thing stopping them was fear and violence. And then they asked, "Who wants to try to register?" Fannie Lou Hamer raised her hand. She later said, "I had never heard until 1962 that black people could register and vote. Never heard it." 44 years of life in America, and this was the first time anyone told her she had rights. Think about how intentional that silence had to be, how much effort it took to keep an entire population ignorant of their constitutional rights for a century. That's not accident. That's policy. On that same day, August 31st, 1962, Fannie Lou Hamer made a decision that would change her life forever. She and 17 other black citizens boarded a bus to the county courthouse in Indianola, Mississippi, to register to vote. That bus ride was an act of war. Everyone on that bus knew what they were risking: their jobs, their homes, their lives. But they went anyway. At the courthouse, they were met with intimidation. White registrars demanded they take literacy tests, questions about obscure sections of the Mississippi Constitution that even white voters couldn't answer. Questions like how many bubbles are in a bar of soap, or write and interpret Section 5, Paragraph 3 of the Mississippi State Constitution. These weren't tests. These were traps, designed to fail black applicants no matter how educated they were. Police surrounded the group, hands on weapons, eyes full of hate. They wanted these black people to feel fear, to turn around, to go home, to stay in their place. But Hamer stood firm. She took the test. She failed, deliberately. Failed by racist officials who would never let a black sharecropper pass. But she looked them in the eye and promised, "I'll be back." On the bus ride home, police stopped them. The driver, a black man helping these voters, was fined $100 for driving a bus that was too yellow. Let me repeat that. Too yellow. They made up a law on the spot, fined him $100, which in 1962 was more than most black families made in a month. The message was clear. Help black people vote and we'll destroy you financially. But the worst was waiting at home. When Fannie Lou returned to the plantation that evening, the landowner W.D. Marlowe was waiting. He wasn't just angry, he was enraged. Because Fannie Lou Hamer registering to vote wasn't just about voting, it was about power. If black people could vote, they could elect black sheriffs, black judges, black officials who wouldn't protect white terrorism. The entire system of racial oppression depended on black people being powerless. One black woman registering to vote was a crack in the foundation. Marlowe gave her an ultimatum. If you don't go down and withdraw your registration, you'll have to leave. He didn't ask. He didn't negotiate. He demanded. Withdraw your registration or get out. Fannie Lou Hamer looked at this white man who had controlled her life for 18 years and said 6 words that changed everything. "I didn't try to register for you. I tried to register for myself." Read that again. "I didn't try to register for you. I tried to register for myself." In those 6 words, she declared independence. She declared ownership of her own life. She declared that she was not his property, not his slave, not his servant, but a human being with rights. And in Mississippi, in 1962, that declaration was a death sentence. That night, after 18 years of loyal work, after 44 years of life in those cotton fields, Fannie Lou Hamer and her husband Perry were thrown off the plantation with nothing but the clothes on their backs. No severance pay, no back wages, no compensation for nearly 2 decades of labor. Just get out and don't come back. Most people would have broken. Most people would have said, "This isn't worth it. I tried. I failed. Time to give up." But not Fannie Lou Hamer. She moved into town, staying with Robert and Mary Tucker, fellow activists who offered refuge. She didn't withdraw her registration. She didn't apologize. She didn't beg for her job back. Instead, she got more involved in voter registration. She attended more meetings. She recruited more people. She became more dangerous. And that's when they tried to kill her. September 10th, 1962, just 10 days after her voter registration attempt, just 10 days after being evicted. Fannie Lou Hamer is sleeping in the Tucker home when she hears a sound she'll never forget. Gunfire. Not 1 shot. Not 2. 16 bullets tore through the walls of that house. 16. Count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1 bullet missed Fannie Lou's head by less than 12 inches as she lay sleeping. 12 inches. 1 foot. If her head had been turned slightly, if she'd been lying in a different position, if the shooter's hand had moved an inch to the left, she would have been dead, and we would never know her name, and her story would be buried like thousands of others. 2 young girls in the house were shot, children. Bullets ripping through their skin because they were in a house where a black woman dared to register to vote. The attackers disappeared into the night. No arrests were ever made. The sheriff didn't investigate. The FBI didn't investigate. The governor didn't care. Because in Mississippi, shooting at black people for trying to vote wasn't a crime. It was policy. Most people would have fled Mississippi. Most would have said, "I tried. I almost died. I'm out." Not Fannie Lou Hamer. She said, "They kicked me off the plantation, they set me free. It's the best thing that could happen. Now I can work for my people." Let me say that again. They shot at her 16 times, nearly killed her, and she said it was the best thing that could happen. Because now she was free. Free from the plantation. Free from the white landowner's control. Free to fight without fear of losing what little she had. Because they'd already taken everything. That's the spirit we're talking about. That's the DNA you carry. That's your ancestors. They tried to kill her, and she got more dangerous. Remember that. Because what comes next is even worse, and her response is even stronger. But before I tell you about the torture, before I show you the forced sterilization, I need you to understand something. What happened to Fannie Lou Hamer wasn't unique. It was policy. It was systematic. It happened to thousands, and most of their names you'll never know. But what they don't want you to see is the pattern. So let me show you what they've been hiding. June 9th, 1963. Less than a year after the 16 bullets. Less than a year after the eviction. Fannie Lou Hamer is returning from a voter education workshop in Charleston, South Carolina. She's traveling with several SNCC workers on a Greyhound bus sitting in seats that used to be marked "Whites Only." This is 1 year before the Civil Rights Act. Segregation is still legal. But these activists are practicing civil disobedience, sitting where they're not supposed to sit, daring the system to respond. The bus stops in Winona, Mississippi, a small town in Montgomery County, population less than 5,000. The kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and everyone knows to stay in their place. Some of the activists enter Staley's Cafe at the bus depot. They're hungry. They've been traveling for hours. They want food. They're refused service because of their skin color. When they don't leave immediately when they stand there and ask why, when they dare to question white authority, the owner calls the police. Within minutes, officers arrive. They don't ask questions. They don't investigate. They see black people not obeying, and they attack. Fannie Lou Hamer watches from the bus as officers begin arresting her friends. She steps off to see what's happening, to witness, to make sure they're okay. And that's when a white police officer sees her, a black woman, watching, observing, not looking down, not shuffling away, just standing there like she has a right to be there, like she's equal. He seizes her, kicks her repeatedly, drags her to a police car, and takes her to the Montgomery County Jail in Winona. For 4 days, Fannie Lou Hamer and the other activists are held in that jail. 4 days of terror that most people can't imagine. 4 days that would permanently destroy her body. 4 days that would have broken most people. 4 days that made her stronger. What happened in that jail was medieval torture disguised as law enforcement. It was systematic brutality designed to send a message. Register black voters, and this is what happens to you. Stand up for your rights, and we'll make you wish you were dead. On the first night, white officers bring Hamer to a cell. Inside are 2 black male prisoners. She doesn't know their names. She doesn't know their crimes. She only knows they're terrified, because the officers are handing them blackjacks, leather-wrapped clubs loaded with metal, weapons designed to inflict maximum pain without leaving obvious marks, weapons designed to torture. Then the officers give the order. Beat her. Think about this. The police don't beat her themselves. They force other black people to do it. Why? Because it's more cruel. Because it breaks community bonds. Because it makes the victim feel abandoned by their own people. Because it traumatizes everyone involved. The beaten and the beater. These black men, themselves prisoners, themselves victims, are given a choice that isn't a choice. Beat this woman, or we'll beat you. Beat her hard, or we'll kill you. So they do, because they want to live, because the system has them trapped, because there's no way out. The first man begins to beat Fannie Lou Hamer. She's lying on a bunk. He strikes her back, her legs, her arms. She screams. He keeps hitting. She begs him to stop. He keeps hitting. Because if he stops, the officers will beat him. When his arms grow too tired to continue, when he physically can't lift the blackjack anymore, the officers threaten him. If you don't keep beating her, we'll beat you. So the second prisoner takes over. Fannie Lou Hamer later testified, "The first Negro began to beat me. And I was beat by the first Negro until he was exhausted." After the first Negro had beat until he was exhausted, the state highway patrolman ordered the second Negro to take the blackjack. The second Negro began to beat, and I began to scream, and one white man got up and began to beat me in my head and tell me to hush. Let that sink in. She's screaming from pain, and they beat her in the head to make her stop screaming. They don't want to hear her pain. They want to inflict it, but they don't want to hear it. That's the cruelty we're talking about. By the time they finish, Fannie Lou Hamer's body is destroyed. Her kidneys are permanently damaged. She will suffer pain for the rest of her life every single day because of this beating. She develops a blood clot in her left eye, causing permanent vision loss. She will never see clearly again. Her legs are so badly injured, she can barely walk for weeks. She will limp for the rest of her life. And while she's lying on that jail floor, barely conscious, body broken, blood pooling beneath her, she hears one of the white officers say something that makes her blood run cold. We could put them SOBs in Big Black River, and nobody would ever find them. They're discussing whether to murder her, whether to take her body, dump it in the river, let it disappear like so many others. How many black bodies are at the bottom of Mississippi rivers? How many activists who tried to register voters were murdered and dumped and forgotten? How many names do we not know because their bodies were never found? But something stops them. Maybe they're afraid of the SNCC lawyers. Maybe they're afraid of national attention. Maybe they're just done torturing her for the night. Whatever the reason, they don't kill her. They leave her in that cell, broken and bleeding for 3 more days. After 4 days, Hamer and the other activists are released. SNCC lawyers file suit against the Winona police officers. The case goes to trial. Evidence is presented. Testimonies are given. Medical records document the injuries. Witnesses confirm the torture. And an all-white jury deliberates, and they acquit every single officer. Not one is punished. Not one serves a day in prison. Not one loses his job. Not one faces consequences. Because in Mississippi, torturing black people wasn't a crime. It was policy. Think about this. Police officers tortured an American citizen for trying to register voters. They forced other black prisoners to beat her. They threatened to murder her and dump her body in a river. They permanently damaged her kidneys, her vision, her legs. And when brought to trial, they walked free. That's not justice. That's terrorism protected by law. And this is the woman who 1 year later would stand before the Democratic National Convention and tell the entire nation what Mississippi really was. This is the woman who, with a broken body and damaged organs, would look into cameras and say, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." This is the woman who would force America to see what it had been ignoring. But before she could fight for others, before she could demand justice for her community, she had to live with a violation so intimate, so cruel, so inhumane, that it takes your breath away. Because the system didn't just beat Fannie Lou Hamer. They made sure she could never have children. They made sure her bloodline would end. They made sure she couldn't create the future she dreamed of. They sterilized her. Without her knowledge, without her consent, without even telling her. And that story, that horror, that genocide is what I need to tell you next. Because what they did to Fannie Lou Hamer's body, they did to thousands of black women. And if you don't know this history, you can't understand the present. So stay with me, because this next truth will make you furious. And it should. 1 year before the eviction. 1 year before the 16 bullets. 1 year before the torture. 1961. Fannie Lou Hamer goes to the hospital for a minor surgical procedure to remove a small uterine tumor. Something routine, something simple, something that should have been straightforward. She goes in expecting to heal. She comes out sterilized. During the surgery, without her knowledge, without her consent, without even telling her, a white doctor performs a complete hysterectomy, removing her uterus entirely, taking away her ability to have children, destroying her dreams of motherhood, stealing her future. And he does it like it's nothing, like she's not human, like her body is his property to do with as he pleases. Fannie Lou Hamer doesn't discover what has been done to her until afterward. Weeks pass. Months pass. She and her husband keep trying to conceive. Nothing happens. She goes back to the doctor. That's when she learns. That's when they tell her, "Oh, by the way, we removed your uterus. You can't have children. Sorry. Sorry." Like it was an accident. Like it was a mistake. Like they didn't deliberately, intentionally, systematically rob her of motherhood. The realization is devastating. She had been violated in the most intimate way possible. Her body had been invaded. Her future had been stolen. Her choice had been erased. She would never hold her own baby, never watch her child grow, never pass down her strength to the next generation. All of that taken from her by a white man in a white coat, who saw her as nothing more than a problem to be solved. This forced sterilization had a name in the black community. They called it a Mississippi appendectomy. Let that sink in. It was so common, so routine, so normalized that people created slang for it. Like it was just another Tuesday in the Delta. Like it was weather. Like it was something you expected to happen. A Mississippi appendectomy. You go in for one thing, you come out sterilized. And everybody knew. Black women whispered about it to each other. Be careful which doctor you see. Don't go to that hospital. They'll take your womb. Warnings passed down like survival instructions. Because that's what they were. Survival instructions in a genocide. Between the 1920s and 1970s, that's 5 decades, an estimated 60,000 to 100,000 poor black women across the South were forcibly sterilized. 60,000 to 100,000. Read that number again. That's not a few isolated cases. That's not a handful of rogue doctors. That's systematic genocide. That's policy. That's America. Some women were told they were getting a different procedure. Maybe an appendectomy. Maybe a cyst removal. Maybe something minor. They wake up sterilized. Others were sterilized during childbirth without consent. They're in labor, vulnerable and pain, focused on bringing life into the world. And while they're on that table, doctors tie their tubes or remove their uterus. No permission asked. No forms signed. Just done. Many women like Fannie Lou Hamer never even knew until it was too late. Until they couldn't conceive. Until they went back and asked why. Until they discovered their bodies had been mutilated without their knowledge. This wasn't medical error. This wasn't malpractice. This was eugenics. A deliberate campaign to prevent black people from reproducing. White officials, doctors, and politicians believed black poverty could be solved by eliminating black births. They looked at poor black communities and said the problem isn't racism, the problem isn't economic oppression, the problem isn't lack of opportunity. The problem is that black people are having too many babies. So let's stop them from having babies. They saw black women's bodies as property of the state, as tools for social engineering, as problems to be eliminated, not as human beings, not as mothers, not as people with dreams and rights and autonomy, just problems. And they acted on it, legally, openly, with government funding. North Carolina operated an official eugenics program that wasn't formally ended until 1977. 1977. That's 48 years ago. Some of you watching this video were alive when forced sterilization was still legal policy. Some of your mothers were alive. Some of your grandmothers were targeted. 1977. Think about what else was happening in 1977. Star Wars was in theaters. Jimmy Carter was president. People were listening to disco. And black women were still being forcibly sterilized by the government. Fannie Lou Hamer didn't hide her pain. She didn't suffer in silence. She didn't protect the system that violated her. She spoke publicly about what was done to her. She brought national attention to forced sterilization. She connected her personal violation to systematic violence. She said they don't only kill us with bullets and beatings. They kill us before we're even born. Before we're even born. They're eliminating future generations. They're committing genocide not with gas chambers, but with surgical tools. Not with bullets, but with scalpels. Not in concentration camps, but in hospitals. And they're doing it with your tax dollars, with government funding, with medical licenses, with legal protection. At the 1964 Democratic National Convention, when Fannie Lou Hamer testified about Mississippi terror, she talked about the sterilization. She made America hear it. She made white politicians uncomfortable. She made doctors afraid. She made the system visible. And that's why they tried to silence her. That's why LBJ interrupted her testimony. Because she was exposing crimes that went far beyond Mississippi. Crimes that implicated the entire medical establishment. Crimes that revealed the truth about how America saw black bodies. But here's what they don't want you to know. Fannie Lou Hamer's story isn't unique. The 16 bullets aren't unique. The torture in Winona isn't unique. The forced sterilization isn't unique. Every single thing that happened to her was part of a pattern, a system, a policy. And if you don't see the pattern, you'll think it was just bad luck, just a few bad people, just unfortunate circumstances. But when you see the pattern, when you see how many times it happened, when you see how widespread it was, you can't deny the truth anymore. This was genocide. This was terrorism. This was policy. And it was aimed at one goal: keeping black people powerless. So let me show you the pattern. Let me show you what they've been hiding. Let me show you that Fannie Lou Hamer wasn't the exception. She was the rule. Because for every name, you know there are thousands you don't. For every story that got told, there are millions that got buried. And it's time to dig them up. Fannie Lou Hamer survived the violence. Thousands did not. Let me give you names. Let me give you dates. Let me give you proof that what happened to her was systematic. September 25th, 1961. Liberty, Mississippi. Herbert Lee, a black farmer and NOIOCP activist, helping with voter registration, is shot and killed in broad daylight by white state legislator E.H. Hurst. Witnesses see it happen. Hurst walks up to Lee's truck, pulls out a gun, and shoots him in the head. Right there. In public. In daylight. A state legislator murdering a black voter registration activist. Hurst claims self-defense, says Herbert Lee attacked him first. The witnesses, all black, are too terrified to contradict him, except one. Lewis Allen, a black logger who saw the whole thing, tells the FBI the truth. Herbert Lee never attacked anyone. He was murdered in cold blood. 2 years later, Lewis Allen is found dead on his front lawn, shot in the face. He had been planning to leave Mississippi. He had been planning to testify. He never made it. No arrests, no investigation, no justice. An all-white coroner's jury rules Hearst's killing of Herbert Lee justifiable homicide. No charges filed. A state legislator murders a black man for trying to vote, and the system calls it justified. That's Mississippi. That's America. June 12, 1963. 3 days after Hamer's beating in Winona. Jackson, Mississippi. Medgar Evers, NOACP field secretary, pulls into his driveway after a long day of work. He's been registering black voters. He's been organizing protests. He's been demanding justice. He gets out of his car, arms full of NOACP t-shirts that say, "Jim Crow must go." He takes a few steps toward his front door. His wife and children are inside waiting for him. A shot rings out. One bullet. Through his back, through his heart, through his lung. He falls in his driveway bleeding. His wife runs out screaming. His children see their father dying. He's rushed to the hospital. White doctors refuse to treat him at first because he's black. By the time they do, it's too late. Medgar Evers dies at 37 years old, murdered for registering black voters. Byron de la Beckwith, a white supremacist, is arrested. His fingerprints are on the rifle. Witnesses place him at the scene. The evidence is overwhelming. 2 trials, 2 all-white juries, 2 mistrials. He walks free, lives for 30 more years before finally being convicted in 1994. 31 years later. 31 years of freedom after murdering Medgar Evers. June 21st, 1964. Philadelphia, Mississippi. 3 civil rights workers disappear. James Chaney, 21 years old, black. Andrew Goodman, 20 years old, white. Michael Schwerner, 24 years old, white. They're working on Freedom Summer registering black voters. They go to investigate a church burning. They never come back. 44 days later, their bodies are found buried in an earthen dam. They had been arrested by Deputy Sheriff Cecil Price, released at night, then chased down by a mob of Ku Klux Klan members, including law enforcement. They were beaten, shot, buried, and the killers went home to their families like it was just another day at work. The FBI investigates. They identify the killers. 18 men, including the sheriff and deputy sheriff. The state of Mississippi refuses to prosecute. Refuses. The federal government files civil rights charges. 7 are convicted. None serve more than 6 years in prison. Most serve less. For murdering 3 people. For conspiracy to murder. 6 years. Cecil Price, the deputy sheriff who arrested them and helped murder them, serves 4 years and 10 months. Then he's released. He lives free until 2001, works a regular job, raises a family. No remorse, no accountability, no justice. March 25th, 1965. Lowndes County, Alabama. Viola Luzzo, a white civil rights activist from Detroit, has just participated in the Selma to Montgomery March. She's driving black activists back to Selma. She's a 39-year-old mother of 5. She believes in justice. She believes in equality. She's using her privilege to help. A car pulls up beside her on Highway 80. 4 Ku Klux Klan members inside. They fire 2 shots through her window. One hits her in the head. She dies instantly. Her car crashes. The black passenger, 19-year-old Leroy Moten, survives by pretending to be dead. The Klansmen are arrested. One is an FBI informant. The FBI knew. They had an informant inside the Klan, and they didn't stop the murder. 3 Klansmen are tried. The first trial ends in a mistrial. The second trial, they're convicted of federal civil rights violations, not murder. They serve 3 to 10 years. Viola Luzzo's family is harassed for years. The FBI spreads rumors that she was a communist, that she was having an affair, that she abandoned her children. Anything to destroy her reputation. Anything to justify her murder. Because she was a white woman helping black people, and that made her a traitor in their eyes. Do you see the pattern? What now? Register. Black voters, you die. Help black people vote, you die. Demand equality, you die. And when you die, your killers walk free. Or serve a few years. Or never get arrested at all. Because the system protects the killers and punishes the victims. Fannie Lou Hamer lived under this terror every single day. Every single day she woke up knowing she could be the next name on the list. Every single day she went out to register voters knowing someone might kill her. Every single day she stood up and fought, knowing the system wanted her dead. And she did it anyway. That's courage. That's strength. That's what your ancestors did. And that's what runs in your blood. But the violence wasn't the only weapon. They had another tool, another method, another way to eliminate black people without pulling a trigger. And it was even more insidious because it looked like healthcare. It looked like help. It looked like medicine. It was forced sterilization. And it happened to tens of thousands of black women across the South. North Carolina operated an official eugenics board from 1933 to 1977. 44 years of government-sanctioned genocide. The state identified people they deemed unfit to reproduce. Poor people, black people, disabled people. People they said were feeble-minded, and they sterilized them. By force, by law, with taxpayer money. Over 7,600 people were forcibly sterilized in North Carolina alone. Most of them black women and girls. Some as young as 10 years old. 10. Children. Sterilized by the state because they were poor and black, and the state decided they shouldn't have children. The state kept meticulous records, maintained files, operated this genocide program openly. It wasn't secret. It wasn't hidden. It was official policy. The Eugenics Board met regularly, reviewed cases, approved sterilizations. Like it was normal. Like it was good. Like they were doing society a favor by preventing black people from reproducing. In South Carolina during the 1960s and 70s, teaching hospitals used black women as practice for medical residents, learning sterilization procedures. Read that again. Practice. Without consent. Without anesthesia in some cases. Without compensation. Black women's bodies were treated as training tools for white doctors. You want to learn how to tie tubes? Here's a black woman. Practice on her. She doesn't matter. She's not human. She's just material. The Relf sisters? Case 1973. Mary Alice and Minnie Relf, ages 14 and 12. Montgomery, Alabama. They're sterilized without parental consent at a federally funded clinic. Federally funded. Your tax dollars. Their mother, who couldn't read, was told to sign an X on a form. She thought it was for birth control shots. It was consent for sterilization. They took 2 children, cut them open, and made sure they could never have babies. 12 and 14 years old. When the case becomes public, when lawyers start investigating, they discover thousands of poor black women and girls have been sterilized under federal programs. Thousands. The government has been funding genocide, and nobody cared. Nobody stopped it. Nobody went to prison. By 1970, more than 60% of black women in some Mississippi counties had been sterilized. 60%. Think about that. In some communities, the majority of black women of childbearing age couldn't have children. Not because of disease, not because of choice, because white doctors took that choice away. In Puerto Rico, Another U.S. territory, over 1/3 of women of childbearing age were sterilized by 1968. 1/3. This wasn't just the South. This wasn't just Mississippi. This was U.S. policy. Federal programs, government doctors, systematic genocide. White doctors looked at black poverty and blamed black reproduction. Medical schools taught eugenics. Professors told students that poverty and crime were genetic, that black people were inferior. That sterilization was the solution. Professional organizations endorsed it. The American Medical Association stayed silent. The system worked exactly as designed, and this continued until the 1970s. Not the 1870s, not the 1920s, the 1970s. Some of you watching this were born during the era of forced sterilization. Your mothers, your aunts, your grandmothers lived through this. Maybe they were targeted. Maybe they were victims. Maybe they never told you because the shame was too great. Because they blamed themselves. Because the doctors said it was for their own good. But it wasn't for their own good. It was genocide. Plain and simple. The systematic elimination of black reproduction. The deliberate destruction of black futures. The calculated prevention of black wealth being passed to the next generation. Because here's what they understood. If you can't have children, you can't build generational wealth. If your family line ends, your property ends, your business ends, your legacy ends. Forced sterilization wasn't just about population control. It was about wealth control, power control, future control. They sterilized Fannie Lou Hamer so she couldn't pass her strength to the next generation. They sterilized thousands of black women so black communities couldn't grow, so black political power couldn't increase, so black wealth couldn't accumulate. It was strategic, it was calculated, it was evil. And when you understand this, when you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. Every struggle black communities face today traces back to systematic destruction. They didn't just enslave your ancestors. They didn't just segregate them. They tried to eliminate them completely, permanently, through violence and through sterilization. But they failed. You're here. You exist. You survived. Your ancestors survived genocide, and you're the proof. Your existence is resistance. Your life is victory. Your future is revenge against those who tried to prevent it. Now let me show you how the legal system protected all of this. How judges and juries and lawmakers made sure the killers walked free and the genocide continued. Because understanding the violence and the sterilization isn't enough. You need to see how the system covered it up, how they made it legal, how they made it disappear. And once you see that, you'll understand why the same patterns are still happening today. The violence was systematic, the sterilization was widespread, but none of it would have been possible without the legal system protecting it, without judges dismissing cases, without juries acquitting murderers, without laws that made terrorism legal and resistance criminal. Let me show you how the system worked, how every branch of government, every institution, every level of power coordinated to keep black people oppressed and white supremacists protected. Start with the juries. The Winona police officers who tortured Fannie Lou Hamer went to trial. Evidence was overwhelming. Medical records documented her injuries. Witnesses testified. The facts were undeniable. And an all-white jury acquitted every single officer. Because in Mississippi, black citizens were systematically excluded from jury service. White registrars used discriminatory selection processes to ensure no black person ever sat on a jury. No black voice, no black perspective, no black justice. This wasn't unusual. This was guaranteed. Every trial involving white violence against black people had the same outcome. All-white jury, quick deliberation. not guilty. White murderers walking free while their victims stayed buried. Herbert Lee's killer state legislator, E.H. Hearst, not guilty. Justifiable homicide. Medgar Evers' killer, Byron de la Beckwith. 2 trials. 2 all-white juries. 2 mistrials. 31 years before justice. The Winona Police, not guilty. The killers of the 3 civil rights workers. 7 convicted of federal charges, but 0 murder convictions from the state. Because Mississippi refused to prosecute. White judges made sure of it. They dismissed cases. They set impossibly low bail for white defendants charged with racial terrorism. $100 to get out of jail after murdering someone. Less than what they fined the bus driver for being too yellow. They handed maximum sentences to black victims who dared fight back. You defend yourself against a white attacker, 20 years in prison. You murder a black voter, walk free. The entire legal system was designed to protect white violence and punish black resistance. From the police who arrested activists, to the sheriffs who helped lynch them, to the prosecutors who refused to charge them, to the judges who dismissed cases, to the juries who acquitted them. Every step, every level, every institution, coordinated oppression, and it was legal. That's what you have to understand. It was legal, because the law itself was racist. Buck versus Bell, 1927. Supreme Court case that upheld forced sterilization. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, considered one of the great legal minds in American history, wrote the opinion. 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. Those were his words. 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. That decision has never been overturned. It remains on the books. Forced sterilization was legal under American law. It's still technically legal under American law. States passed eugenics laws based on Buck versus Bell. North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all across the South and beyond. California sterilized more people than any other state. This wasn't just Southern racism. This was American policy. Until 1978, Medicaid would pay for sterilization procedures with minimal consent requirements. The federal government funded forced sterilization. Your tax dollars. Doctors could sterilize poor women disproportionately. Black and Bill the government. The state paid for genocide, encouraged it, subsidized it, and the doctors had immunity. The police had immunity. The judges had immunity. Even when their crimes were exposed, qualified immunity and prosecutorial discretion ensured they faced no consequences. The system protected itself, always. Poll taxes and literacy tests kept black people from voting, and the Supreme Court said that was legal. Jim Crow segregation was legal. Separate but equal was legal. Everything they did to Fannie Lou Hamer, everything they did to millions of black Americans was legal under the laws they created to oppress. The Voting Rights Act wasn't passed until 1965, 3 years after Hamer was evicted for trying to register, 2 years after she was beaten in Winona. For those 3 years, everything done to her was considered legal under Mississippi law. Evicting someone for registering to vote, legal. Shooting at them, unpunished. Torturing them in jail, justified. Mississippi operated a state spy agency from 1956 to 1977 called the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission. Think about that. A government agency funded by taxpayer dollars, created to infiltrate civil rights groups, to maintain files on activists, to coordinate with the Ku Klux Klan. It was the state's official secret police against black freedom, and it was legal. Official. Sanctioned. They spied on Fannie Lou Hamer. They tracked her movements. They documented who she met with. They shared information with local police, with white supremacist groups, with anyone who wanted to harm her. The state government actively helped terrorists target civil rights activists. That's not conspiracy theory. That's documented fact. The files still exist. You can read them. White citizens' councils formed after Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. Respectable businessmen, lawyers, politicians, doctors. Not Klansmen in robes, but men in suits. They used economic terrorism. If you registered to vote, they made sure you lost your job, your credit, your home. They didn't burn crosses. They foreclosed mortgages. They fired employees. They destroyed livelihoods. All legal. All protected. When Fannie Lou Hamer was evicted, that was white citizens' council pressure. When black families lost their jobs for trying to vote, that was white citizens' council coordination. When banks refused loans to black activists, that was white citizens' council influence. They controlled the economy. They controlled employment. They controlled survival. And they used that control to punish anyone who stepped out of line. In counties where black registration increased, white officials would suddenly discover registration errors and purge thousands of black voters from rolls. Legal, sanctioned, systematic. They'd change the rules, move the polling places, shorten the hours. Anything to make voting impossible. All legal. Do you see the pattern? Now every time black people organized, every time black people built power, every time black people demanded rights, the system responded with violence, sterilization, and legal suppression. This wasn't a few bad actors. This wasn't isolated incidents. This was policy. Coordinated, systematic, intentional. The violence scared people. The sterilization eliminated future generations. And the legal system made sure none of it could be challenged. 3 prongs: violence, genocide, legal protection. Together they created a system of oppression so complete, so thorough, so overwhelming that most people gave up. Most people accepted it. Most people said, "This is just how it is." But not Fannie Lou Hamer. Not the thousands of activists who kept fighting. Not your ancestors who survived it. They looked at this overwhelming system of oppression and said, "No, not today. Not ever. We will resist. We will fight. We will survive. And we will win." And they did survive. You're the proof. Your existence is their victory. But surviving wasn't enough. They also had to make sure the truth got out. They had to make sure history remembered. They had to document what happened so future generations would know. And that's where the system deployed its final weapon. Erasure, destruction of records, manipulation of history, control of the narrative. If you think this is just about what happened 60 years ago, you're wrong. Because they're still doing it. Still erasing. Still lying. Still covering up. And I'm about to show you exactly how. If this truth has shocked you so far, I need you to do something right now. Don't wait. Don't scroll past. Right now, comment Fannie Lou Hamer below. Let me know you're hearing this. Let me know this matters. Because every comment tells YouTube this video needs to be seen. Every comment fights the algorithm that tries to bury truth. Hit that like button. Not for me. For Fannie Lou Hamer. For the 16 bullets she survived. For the torture she endured. For the motherhood that was stolen. Like this video as an act of remembrance. As a declaration that we will not forget. And share this. Right now. Share it with your mother, your sister, your daughter, your friend who still thinks the system is fair, your cousin who thinks racism ended with slavery. Share it because they erased this story for 60 years, and we will not let them erase it again. Every share is an act of resistance. Every comment is a testimony. Every like is a memorial. Do it now. Now let me show you how they covered it all up after the Winona beating police records mysteriously disappeared. Hospital records documenting Hamer's injuries, lost. Witness statements, misplaced. This was standard procedure across the South. When black citizens filed complaints about violence, white sheriffs would take their statements, then burn them. No record, no crime. No crime, no justice. In countless cases when black people tried to get proof of what was done to them, the evidence vanished. Medical records of forced sterilizations, gone. Property deeds showing black land ownership, destroyed. Birth certificates, marriage licenses, business records, all disappeared in convenient fires or floods or administrative errors. Hospitals, performing forced sterilizations, kept minimal records. Many didn't note the procedure at all. When women like Fannie Lou Hamer tried to get medical proof of what was done, to them doctors claimed no such surgery occurred. Gaslighting at an institutional level. You're crazy, that never happened. You're imagining things, even though they knew, even though they did it, even though the files existed somewhere hidden, protected, kept from the victims. Black witnesses to white violence learned quickly. Testify and die. Lewis Allen testified about Herbert Lee's murder. 2 years later, shot in the face. Every black person in Mississippi knew that story. Knew that if you spoke up, if you told the truth, if you testified against white violence, you'd be next. So witnesses stayed silent. Not because they didn't care, not because they didn't know, but because they wanted to live. Murder of documentation was systematic. After mass sterilizations, birth rates in black communities plummeted. 60% of black women in some counties sterilized, and suddenly births drop. But instead of investigating, the government celebrated this as successful family planning initiatives. They turned genocide into a public health victory, published reports praising the decline in black births, funded more programs, expanded sterilization, all while calling it healthcare. Census data was manipulated, populations undercounted, deaths underreported. Massacres like Tulsa in 1921, where 300 black people were murdered, official records said 39. Rosewood in 1923. Official records said 8 deaths when the real number was likely dozens or hundreds. They controlled the numbers. They controlled the narrative. They controlled history. And then came educational erasure, the most insidious weapon of all. Because if you control what children learn, you control what the next generation believes. For decades, Fannie Lou Hamer's name appeared in 0 Mississippi history textbooks. 0. Students learned about the civil rights movement in abstract terms. Noble marches, inspiring speeches, Martin Luther King's dream. Rosa Parks sitting on a bus. Sanitized, safe, digestible, but not the torture, not the sterilizations, not the 16 bullets, not the systematic genocide. They removed the violence from the story, made it seem like black people just asked nicely, and white people eventually agreed. Like it was a peaceful transition. Like there wasn't terrorism. Like there weren't massacres. Like there weren't thousands of dead bodies. They changed the language, called forced sterilization family planning, called police torture maintaining order, called systematic disenfranchisement literacy requirements. Language became a weapon of erasure. If you control the words, you control the meaning. If you control the meaning, you control the truth. When Hamer's story couldn't be completely erased, they sanitized it. Textbooks mentioned her as an activist who spoke at the 1964 convention. Period. No mention of the beating. No mention of the sterilization. No mention of the assassination attempts. They made her safe. Made her digestible. Made her toothless. Turned a revolutionary into a footnote. They created the myth of the outside agitator. White historians blamed civil rights violence on Northern activists, stirring up peaceful Black Southerners. This narrative erased the reality. Black Mississippians like Fannie Lou Hamer invited activists because they were already living under terrorism, because they needed help, because they were dying. But the textbook said things were fine until outsiders came and caused trouble. That's a lie. Things were not fine. Things were genocide. And Black Mississippians were resisting long before any Northern students arrived. Generational memory loss was the goal. By erasing these stories from education, they ensured each generation would have to rediscover them. Your grandparents knew. They lived it. They survived it. But they couldn't talk about it because it was too painful, too traumatic, too dangerous. Your parents forgot because they weren't taught. And you're learning for the first time because the system successfully created a gap, a silence, an erasure. That's intentional. If every generation has to start from zero, if every generation has to rediscover the truth, then the truth never becomes power. It just becomes stories. Old stories, ancient history, not relevant, not urgent, not actionable. And then the media completed the erasure. Remember when Fannie Lou Hamer testified at the Democratic National Convention in 1964, President Johnson watched on TV. Her testimony was so powerful, so damaging, he called an emergency press conference to interrupt the broadcast. Major networks cut away from Hamer mid-testimony. Millions of Americans never heard what she said because the president didn't want them to hear it. White Southern newspapers either ignored civil rights violence or blamed victims. When they covered the Winona beating headlines, read, "Negro woman claims police brutality." Note the word claims, implying doubt, suggesting she might be lying. Not woman tortured by police. Not police commit terrorism. Claims brutality. Maybe. Allegedly. If you believe her. Northern media covered civil rights as a Southern problem, ignored Northern segregation, Northern police brutality, Northern forced sterilization programs, made white audiences feel superior, made them think we're not like those Southern racists. We're better. All while their cities practiced the same oppression with different methods. Media celebrated moderate voices, people who preached patience, compromise, gradualism. Wait a little longer. Don't push so hard. Don't be so angry. They demonized radical activists like Hamer, who demanded immediate justice, called them troublemakers, agitators, extremists. This false binary kept the focus on tone instead of truth, kept the conversation about how activists spoke instead of what they were saying. Images of beaten Black bodies were deemed too graphic for publication. White editors decided Americans couldn't handle seeing the truth. So the violence was described in polite language. Altercation, incident, disturbance, not torture, not terrorism, not murder. Just unfortunate incidents between parties with different perspectives. They neutered the horror, made it abstract, made it debatable, made it something you could discuss calmly over coffee instead of something that should make you rage. That was the point. If they showed you the truth, you demand action. So they hid the truth. They softened it. They erased it. And for decades it worked. Fannie Lou Hamer's name disappeared from public consciousness. The Mississippi appendectomy became a forgotten phrase. The Winona torture became an unknown event. The 16 bullets became a lost story. They successfully erased her. Successfully erased thousands like her. Successfully convinced generations that the civil rights movement was peaceful and racism ended in 1965. But they failed to erase one thing. They failed to erase the consequences. They failed to erase the wealth gap. They failed to erase the maternal mortality crisis. they failed to erase voter suppression, because all of those things are still here, still affecting you, still destroying Black communities. And once you understand the history, once you see what they did, you can't ignore the present. So let me connect the dots for you. Let me show you why this 60-year-old story matters today. Why Fannie Lou Hamer's torture explains your life right now. Why her stolen motherhood connects to reproductive justice battles happening this moment. Why her fight to vote explains why voting is still a battle. This isn't history. This is now. In 2024, the median white household in America has $188,000 in wealth. The median Black household has $24,100. That's an 8-to-1 ratio. 8-to-1. White families have 8 times the wealth of Black families. That's not a gap. That's a chasm. That's a canyon. That's a theft so massive it's hard to comprehend. Where did this gap come from? They tell you it's because Black people don't work hard enough, don't save enough, don't make good choices. That's a lie. The gap exists because white America stole Black wealth, systematically, legally, repeatedly, and they're still doing it. Fannie Lou Hamer worked from age 6 to age 44 as a sharecropper, giving her labor to white landowners who kept her in debt. When she tried to claim her constitutional right to vote, she was evicted with nothing. 18 years of labor, stolen. No compensation, no back pay, no justice. Just get out. If Hamer had been paid fair wages for those 18 years, if she'd been allowed to own land, if she'd been able to pass wealth to children she was allowed to have, her descendants would be middle class today. Instead, she died poor in 1977, worked her entire life, changed American history, and died poor. While the white landowner who evicted her died wealthy. While the doctors who sterilized her retired comfortably. While the police who tortured her collected pensions. This story multiplied across millions of Black families. Every eviction, every job lost for activism, every business burned, every inheritance stolen, every generation forced to start from zero while white families compound wealth for centuries. Black Wall Street in Tulsa, 1921. 35 city blocks of Black-owned businesses destroyed. 300 people murdered. 1,200 homes burned. $32 million in property damage in today's money. And not one penny of reparations. Not one insurance claim paid. The families who survived fled with nothing. Their wealth gone. Their businesses ashes. Their future stolen. If Black Wall Street hadn't been destroyed, those families would be millionaires today. Their children would have inherited businesses. Their grandchildren would have inherited wealth. But instead, they inherited trauma. They inherited poverty. They inherited nothing. Because white terrorists burned it all, and the government protected them. That's why the wealth gap exists. Not because Black people don't work hard, but because every time Black people built wealth, it was destroyed. Every time. This pattern repeated across the entire country. Rosewood, Florida. Wilmington, North Carolina. Elaine, Arkansas. East St. Louis, Illinois. Springfield, Illinois. Everywhere Black people prospered, white mobs attacked, and the government either participated or watched. Redlining policies from the 1930s to 1960s prevented Black families from buying homes in appreciating neighborhoods. The Federal Housing Administration, a government agency, literally drew red lines on maps around Black neighborhoods and refused to insure mortgages there. Banks wouldn't lend. Families couldn't buy. Wealth couldn't build. White families bought homes for $30,000 in the 50s. Those homes are worth $800,000 today. Generational wealth, passed to children, passed to grandchildren. Black families were blocked from buying those same homes, forced to rent, forced to stay in underfunded neighborhoods, forced to watch white wealth compound while black wealth stagnated. The wealth gap isn't ancient history. Your grandmother faced redlining. Your parents faced housing discrimination. You face the consequences today. Black families need 228 years to accumulate the wealth white families have right now. 228 years. That's not because of lack of effort. That's because the game was rigged from the start, and they're still rigging it. Current statistics prove it. Black homeownership rate today is lower than it was in 1968. Lower. We've gone backward. Black business ownership, black land ownership, black wealth, all declining or stagnant while white wealth grows. This isn't accident. This isn't coincidence. This is policy. And it connects directly to Fannie Lou Hamer. She was evicted for trying to vote because white people knew that voting equals power. Power equals policy. Policy equals wealth. If black people could vote, they could elect officials who'd enforce fair housing laws, fair lending laws, fair employment laws. They could break the systems that kept them poor. So white people made sure black people couldn't vote. And when they couldn't stop them from voting, they made sure voting didn't matter. Gerrymandering, voter suppression, electoral manipulation. The fight continues. Shelby County versus Holder, 2013. Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act. The law Fannie Lou Hamer bled for. The law activists died for. Gutted. Within 24 hours, southern states began implementing new voter ID laws, closing polling places in black neighborhoods, purging voter rolls, the same tactics from the 60s just rebranded. In 2024, Georgia closed 214 polling places in predominantly black counties since 2013. Texas requires IDs that many black and poor citizens don't have. Florida disenfranchises 1.4 million people with felony convictions disproportionately. Black due to racist policing. They're not shooting 16 bullets into homes anymore. They're closing DMVs in black neighborhoods so people can't get voter IDs. They're purging voters for not voting in one election. They're making lines 8 hours long in black precincts. Different tactics. Same goal. Suppress the black vote. In the 2020 election, black voters waited 29% longer to vote than white voters. In some Georgia counties, wait times exceeded 8 hours. 8 hours standing in line to vote. No water allowed because they made it illegal to give water to voters waiting in line. Illegal to give water. Think about that. You stand for 8 hours, and if someone tries to give you water, they get arrested. That's not democracy. That's suppression. That's terrorism with a legal veneer. Fannie Lou Hamer was beaten because she tried to register voters. Today, activists are arrested for giving water to voters waiting in line. The methods change. The oppression continues. And reproductive justice. You think forced sterilization ended in the 70s. In 2013, California prisons sterilized nearly 150 female inmates without proper consent. 2013. Between 2006 and 2010, 148 women. In the 21st century, in prisons, disproportionately black and Latina. The same eugenics program, just with a new population. Prisoners instead of sharecroppers. Black women in America are 3 to 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women. 3 to 4 times. This isn't biology. This is medical racism. Doctors dismiss black women's pain, ignore their symptoms, provide substandard care. Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes in the world, wealthy, famous, almost died in childbirth because doctors didn't listen to her. If it can happen to Serena Williams, imagine what happens to poor black women with no platform, no voice, no power. The system that sterilized Fannie Lou Hamer is the same system killing black mothers today. Different methods, same disregard for black women's bodies, same assumption that black women don't matter, same violence. In states that have banned abortion, black women face the greatest harm. They're more likely to experience pregnancy complications, more likely to lack healthcare access, more likely to face economic hardship from forced pregnancy. Reproductive oppression is still policy, from forced sterilization to forced birth. The system has always sought to control black women's bodies. The goal is the same: deny black women autonomy, agency, humanity. Fannie Lou Hamer spoke about reproductive justice 60 years ago. She connected forced sterilization to economic oppression to voting rights. She understood that bodily autonomy is freedom, that the right to choose when and whether to have children is fundamental, that controlling reproduction is controlling futures. Today's reproductive justice movement stands on her shoulders, continues her fight, demands the same rights she was denied. If your grandmother was born before 1970, she lived in an America where forced sterilization of black women was legal, common, and state-funded. If your mother tried to vote in Mississippi before 1965, she risked her life. This isn't distant history. This is your family history. If your family is from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, they lived under this terror. If they moved north during the Great Migration, they were fleeing this violence. Your presence in Chicago, Detroit, New York, Los Angeles, that's a refugee story. Your family fled American terrorism. The poverty your grandmother endured, the trauma your mother carries, the anger you feel when you hear these stories. That's not weakness. That's intergenerational trauma caused by systematic terrorism. You carry your ancestors' pain because their oppression was never addressed, never repaired, never healed. The wound is still open, still bleeding, still hurting. You are not struggling because you're not strong enough. You're struggling because they stole your inheritance. Fannie Lou Hamer's story is your story. Her fight is your fight. Her stolen wealth is your stolen wealth. And until you understand that, until you see the connection, you'll blame yourself. You'll think it's your fault. You'll internalize the lie that you're not good enough. But it's not you. It never was. It's the system. It's the theft. It's the genocide. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know, you can't unknow it. Once you understand, everything changes. So what do you do with this knowledge? How do you carry this weight? How do you move forward, knowing what they did to your ancestors? Knowing what they're still doing today? You reject the victim narrative. You reclaim your power. You honor your ancestors by refusing to break. And you demand what's owed. Let me tell you who you really are. You are not victims. Let me say that again so it sinks in. You are not victims. They want you to see yourself as victims. Broken, defeated, dependent. That's a lie designed to keep you powerless. Here's the truth. You are not victims of history. You are survivors of genocide. You are not disadvantaged. You are robbed. You are not struggling because of personal failure. You are struggling because of systematic theft. You are not poor because you don't work hard. You are poor because they stole your wealth. You are not broken. You are undefeated. The evidence is right in front of you. Fannie Lou Hamer was shot at 16 times and kept organizing. She was beaten until her body was permanently damaged and spoke at the Democratic National Convention. She was sterilized without consent and still fought for other women's rights. She was evicted, terrorized, tortured, and declared, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired," then got back to work. That strength is in your blood. Your ancestors survived the Middle Passage. Millions died, but your ancestors survived. They survived slavery. 250 years of torture, rape, family separation, murder. They survived. They survived Jim Crow. 100 years of terrorism, lynching, segregation, oppression. They survived. They survived terrorism that would have destroyed weaker people. But they weren't weak. They were warriors. And you exist because they were warriors. Every breath you take is proof of their strength. Every day you wake up is testimony to their refusal to break. Every moment you live is victory over a system that tried to eliminate you. Stop measuring yourself by white standards of success. Your grandmother, who cleaned white people's houses while organizing voter registration drives, was a hero. Your grandfather, who worked 2 jobs while facing discrimination, was a warrior. Your parents, who raised you in a system designed to destroy you, are champions. And you fighting for truth in a world built on lies, you are their legacy. You carry warrior DNA. You carry survivor DNA. You carry the genetic memory of people who refuse to die, who refuse to break, who refuse to surrender. That's not metaphor, that's biology. Trauma gets passed down through generations, but so does resilience. So does strength. So does the will to survive. Your ancestors encoded their power into your cells, into your bones, into your spirit. When you feel tired, that's not weakness. That's the weight of carrying 400 years of resistance. When you feel angry, that's not a character flaw. That's righteous rage against injustice. When you feel like giving up, remember Fannie Lou Hamer had 16 bullets miss her head and kept fighting. You can keep fighting too. Reframe your identity. You're not the descendant of slaves. You're the descendant of enslaved people who survived slavery. You're not the product of oppression. You're the product of resistance. You're not a victim of history. You're a victor over attempted genocide. They tried to kill your ancestors. They failed. You're the proof. Your poverty isn't your fault. It was stolen. Your trauma isn't your weakness. It's evidence of what they did. Your struggle isn't personal failure. It's systematic oppression. And once you understand that, once you stop blaming yourself and start blaming the system, everything changes. Because you stop fighting yourself and start fighting them. Fannie Lou Hamer understood this. She never blamed herself for being poor. She blamed the system that kept her poor. She never blamed herself for being uneducated. She blamed the system that denied her education. She never blamed herself for being powerless. She blamed the system that stole her power, and then she took that power back. That's what you do now. You take your power back, not by asking permission, not by waiting for them to give it to you, but by claiming what's already yours. Your dignity, your humanity, your right to exist, your right to prosper, your right to justice. You are not asking for handouts. You are demanding what was stolen. Reparations aren't charity. They're debt repayment. You are owed. Your family is owed. Your community is owed. Trillions of dollars in stolen labor, stolen land, stolen businesses, stolen futures. That debt hasn't been paid, and it's time to collect. You are not begging for equality. You are declaring your inherent worth. You don't need white approval to be human. You don't need white validation to be valuable. You don't need white permission to be powerful. You already are all those things. They just convinced you otherwise. Time to remember who you are. You are the descendants of people who built wealth from nothing and had it stolen. Your people created culture that shaped the world. Jazz, blues, rock and roll, hip-hop, gospel, soul. Every genre that matters came from Black creativity. Your people invented technology that built America. The traffic light, the gas mask, the blood bank, open heart surgery. Your people fed this nation, cultivated its crops, built its buildings, paved its roads, created its wealth, and got nothing in return. But you're still here, still creating, still innovating, still building, still surviving. That's power. That's strength. That's proof that they couldn't break you. They tried everything. Slavery, segregation, terrorism, genocide. And you're still here. Stronger, louder, more determined, more dangerous to their lies. Be proud. Your people are the strongest humans who ever lived. No other group has survived what Black Americans survived and still produced beauty, still produced joy, still produced love, still produced hope. That's not weakness. That's superhuman strength. Fannie Lou Hamer had every reason to quit. She was poor, uneducated, disabled by torture, unable to have children, repeatedly threatened with death. The system offered her nothing but pain, yet she kept fighting, not for herself, for you. So you could have a better life, so you could vote, so you could have rights, so you could be free. She died in 1977 at age 59, still poor, still in pain, still denied justice. She never saw reparations. She never saw wealth. She never saw full voting rights protection. But she saw something more important. She saw Black people standing up, refusing silence, demanding their humanity. She saw the beginning of change. She planted seeds she knew she'd never see bloom, and she did it anyway. That's sacrifice. That's love. That's legacy. She stood alongside thousands of unnamed warriors, the women who registered voters, knowing they'd be fired, the men who protected their communities, knowing they'd be killed, the children who integrated schools, knowing they'd be attacked. They were all warriors, all heroes, all ancestors you should honor. You didn't inherit money from them. You inherited something more valuable. You inherited their refusal to accept oppression. You inherited their courage in the face of terrorism. You inherited their vision of a free future. That's your birthright. That's your inheritance. That's what they couldn't steal. They tried to erase Fannie Lou Hamer from history. They failed. They tried to erase your ancestors' stories. They failed. Every time you learn these truths, every time you speak these names, every time you refuse their lies, you resurrect the power they tried to bury. You become the keeper of sacred memory. You become the voice of the silenced. You become the continuation of the fight. Memory is resistance. Knowing is power. Speaking truth is warfare. Every time you tell Fannie Lou Hamer's story, you defeat erasure. Every time you connect past to present, you expose the system. Every time you refuse to forget, you honor the dead and empower the living. Be proud. Stand tall. You are the descendants of warriors who refused to die, who built empires from nothing, who survived genocide and emerged singing, who turned pain into art, who turned oppression into resistance, who turned suffering into strength. That legacy lives in you. That power flows through you. That strength defines you. Now let me tell you why you're here. Why God preserved your ancestors through all of this. Why you were born in this time. Why you found this video today. Why did God preserve your ancestors through the Middle Passage when millions died? Why did God bring them through slavery when families were torn apart? Why did God keep them alive through Jim Crow when terrorism was daily? Why did God protect them from forced sterilization, from police bullets, from economic destruction? Why did God make sure you were born? Because you have a mission. You weren't born in this time by accident. You weren't born into this struggle by mistake. You are here because God preserved your lineage for this moment, for this fight, for this revelation, for this awakening. Fannie Lou Hamer was a woman of deep faith. She sang hymns in jail after being beaten. She prayed for her torturers. But she also believed God demands justice, not patience, not forgiveness without accountability. Justice. She believed that faith without works is dead, that prayer without action is empty, that God gave her a voice to speak truth, and hands to do work, and feet to march, and a heart to love her people. And she used all of it. She didn't wait for heaven to get justice. She demanded it on earth. She didn't say God will handle it eventually. She said, God is handling it through me. Right now. Today. She understood that she was God's instrument, that her resistance was holy, that her fight was righteous, that her refusal to submit was divine obedience. Isaiah 1:17 says, "Learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed." Not suggest justice, not request justice. Seek justice. Defend the oppressed. That's not optional. That's a commandment. That's a directive. That's marching orders from God. Micah 6:8 says, "Act justly, love. Mercy, walk humbly with your God." Act justly. That's action. That's doing. That's fighting systems that perpetuate injustice. That's demanding reparations. That's confronting lies. That's speaking truth to power. That's what God requires. Amos 5:24 says, "Let justice roll on like a river righteousness, like a never-failing stream." Roll on. Like a river. Unstoppable. Powerful. Relentless. That's what justice looks like. Not a trickle. Not a suggestion. A flood. An overwhelming force that washes away injustice and leaves righteousness in its wake. God didn't bring you through 400 years of oppression so you could be silent. God didn't preserve your DNA through genocide so you could be comfortable. God didn't give you this knowledge so you could scroll past it. You have been called. You have been chosen. You have been appointed for this moment. Your purpose is to reveal truth. They buried it. You unearth it. Your purpose is to demand justice. They denied it, you require it. Your purpose is to reclaim what was stolen. They took it, you recover it. Your purpose is to break generational curses. They cast them, you shatter them. This won't be easy. Fannie Lou Hamer's path wasn't easy. Speaking truth cost her everything. Her home, her health, her ability to have children, her comfort, her safety. She paid the price of resistance with her body, with her life. But she did it anyway because she understood that some things are worth more than comfort. Freedom is worth more than safety. Truth is worth more than peace. Justice is worth more than personal security. God doesn't call you to easy. God calls you to righteous. And righteousness always wins. Maybe not today. Maybe not in your lifetime, but always. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Martin Luther King said that, but it doesn't bend on its own. It bends because people like Fannie Lou Hamer grab it and pull, because people like your ancestors refuse to let it stay bent toward oppression, because people like you decide not on my watch. You are here for a reason. You found this video for a reason. You made it this far for a reason. This isn't coincidence. This is divine appointment. God is speaking to you right now through this story, through Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony, through your ancestors' sacrifice, through the truth you can no longer ignore. What will you do with it? Will you scroll past? Will you forget by tomorrow? Will you go back to sleep? Or will you wake up? Will you stand up? Will you speak up? Will you fight? Your ancestors are watching. Fannie Lou Hamer is watching. God is watching. And they're all waiting to see what you'll do with the truth you now carry. Will you honor their sacrifice with your action? Or will you dishonor their memory with your silence? The choice is yours. But know this, you were born for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Your existence is not random. Your knowledge is not accidental. Your anger is not misplaced. Your hunger for justice is not wrong. It's all divine. It's all purposeful. It's all leading you to this moment where you decide who you'll be. Will you be the one who knew and did nothing, or the one who knew and changed everything? Will you be the one who heard and forgot, or the one who heard and acted? Will you be the one who learned and stayed silent, or the one who learned and roared? Fannie Lou Hamer chose to roar. After 16 bullets, after torture, after sterilization, after losing everything, she stood before the nation and roared. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And America trembled. What will you do? What will you say? How will you honor this legacy? How will you continue this fight? How will you use your voice, your platform, your resources, your power to seek justice, to demand reparations, to speak truth, to defend the oppressed? That's your mission. That's your calling. That's your divine appointment. Not someday, not eventually. Now, today, this moment, you have been activated. You have been commissioned. You have been sent forth. Go forth and do what Fannie Lou Hamer did. Tell the truth. Demand justice. Refuse silence. Fight oppression. Honor your ancestors. Build your community. Raise your children. Pass down this knowledge. Make sure the next generation knows. Make sure they remember. Make sure they fight. You are not alone in this. You carry the strength of millions. You carry the prayers of generations. You carry the dreams of ancestors who died believing one day their descendants would be free. You are the answer to their prayers. You are the fulfillment of their dreams. You are the freedom they died believing in. So stand up, speak up, fight back, demand what's owed, take what's yours, build what they destroyed, reclaim what they stole, and never, ever, ever let them silence you again. You are powerful. You are worthy. You are owed. You are enough. You are more than enough. You are the descendant of warriors and queens and kings and freedom fighters and revolutionaries and prophets. You are Fannie Lou Hamer's legacy. You are your ancestors' wildest dreams. You are God's chosen instrument for justice in this generation. Now act like it. Before we close, I need you to understand something. This channel exists to tell the stories they buried. Fannie Lou Hamer is just one of thousands of warriors whose names were erased from history. If you want to hear more, if you need to hear more, you must subscribe. This isn't about YouTube algorithms. This is about preserving our history. Every subscriber is a witness. Every notification is a reminder that we will not forget. Click that subscribe button right now. Do it. Don't wait. Don't think about it. Just do it. Because next week I'm exposing another truth they hid. The week after another. The week after that, another. This is a movement of truth-telling, and I need you in it. I need you to be part of this. I need you to commit to learning, to knowing, to remembering. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story. These stories are your inheritance. These truths are your power. These warriors are your ancestors. You owe it to them to listen. You owe it to yourself to know. You owe it to your children to teach them. This isn't just for you. This is for your children. They won't learn this in school. You know that now. The system will teach them lies, sanitized history, comfortable narratives. It's your job to teach them truth. Show them this video. Tell them Fannie Lou Hamer's name. Make sure they know where they come from. Make sure they know what was done. Make sure they know what's owed. In the comments, share your family's story. Did your grandmother face voter suppression? Did your aunt experience medical racism? Did your grandfather flee Southern terrorism? Tell their stories. This community is our archive. Your testimony matters. Your family's history matters. Your voice matters. Don't stay silent. Speak. Write. Share. Document. The system wants you to watch this video, feel sad for an hour, then scroll to the next thing and forget. Prove them wrong. Subscribe. Share. Teach. Remember. That's how we honor Fannie Lou Hamer. That's how we continue her fight. That's how we win. Share this video everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Text it to your family. Email it to your church. Post it in your group chats. Make sure everyone sees it. Make sure everyone knows. Make sure Fannie Lou Hamer's name becomes a rallying cry. Make sure her story becomes required knowledge. Make sure her legacy lives forever. They buried her once. We won't let them do it again. Every share is an act of resurrection. Every comment is a testimony. Every subscription is a commitment. Do your part. Right now. Don't wait. And if this video changed you, if it opened your eyes, if it awakened something in you, then you have a responsibility. You have a debt. You owe Fannie Lou Hamer your voice. You owe your ancestors your action. You owe your children your truth. Pay that debt. Honor that responsibility. Fulfill that obligation. The fight isn't over. The struggle continues. The system still oppresses. The lies still circulate. The erasure still happens. But you have power now. You have knowledge. You have truth. Use it. Weaponize it. Fight with it. Fannie Lou Hamer fought so you could vote. Vote. She fought so you could speak. Speak. She fought so you could organize. Organize. She fought so you could demand justice. Demand it. She gave her body, her health, her future. The least you can do is use your voice. This is your inheritance. This is your legacy. This is your calling. Accept it. Embrace it. Live it. And never let anyone silence you again. Now let's close in prayer. If you're watching this, bow your head with me, regardless of where you are. This is sacred ground. This is holy moment. This is divine encounter. Heavenly Father, we come before you with hearts heavy and spirits awakened. We thank you for preserving the story of our sister, Fannie Lou Hamer, a woman who suffered torture, who endured sterilization, who faced death, yet never surrendered her dignity or her faith. We thank you for the 16 bullets that missed her head, for the survival that seemed impossible, for the voice that could not be silenced, for the courage that inspires us still. Father, we lift up the names of those who were not as fortunate. The black voters murdered for seeking democracy. Herbert Lee, Medgar Evers, James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, Michael Schwerner, Viola Luzzo, and thousands more whose names we don't know, but you do. The black women sterilized without consent. The thousands whose motherhood was stolen. The thousands whose futures were erased. We ask that their memories be honored, their sacrifices remembered, their stories told. We pray for justice, Lord, not revenge, justice. We pray for the restoration of what was stolen. We pray for reparations, not as charity, but as debt repaid. We pray for truth to break through every lie, for light to expose every cover-up, for your righteousness to prevail over human wickedness. Strengthen those of us who seek truth. Protect those of us who speak it. Embolden those of us who demand justice. Give us the courage of Fannie Lou Hamer, to stand when it's dangerous, to speak when it's costly, to fight when it's exhausting, to love when it's hard, to hope when it's dark. We thank you for our ancestors, for their strength, for their sacrifice, for their refusal to break. We thank you that we are here because they survived, that we breathe because they resisted, that we thrive because they fought. Help us honor their legacy. Help us continue their mission. Help us finish their work. Bless those who watched this video, those who learned truth today, those whose eyes were opened, those whose hearts were stirred, those whose spirits were awakened. Use them, Lord. Use us. Make us instruments of your justice, vessels of your truth, warriors in your army of righteousness. We ask for healing, healing from intergenerational trauma, healing from systematic oppression, healing from lies we believed about ourselves. Heal our communities, heal our families, heal our souls. Make us whole again. We ask for wisdom, wisdom to know how to fight, wisdom to know when to speak, wisdom to know how to build, wisdom to know how to organize, wisdom to know how to win. Guide us, direct us, lead us. We ask for protection, protection from those who would silence us, protection from systems that would destroy us, protection from lies that would deceive us. Cover us with your hand, shield us with your presence, guard us with your angels. We thank you that the battle is yours, that victory is certain, that righteousness will prevail, that justice will roll down like waters, that truth will set us free. We thank you that Fannie Lou Hamer's suffering was not in vain, that our ancestors' blood cries out and you hear, that our struggle has meaning and purpose and divine appointment. Use this video, Lord. Let it reach millions. Let it change hearts. Let it open eyes. Let it spark movements. Let it inspire action. Let it honor Fannie Lou Hamer. Let it vindicate our ancestors. Let it empower our people. Let it shake the foundations of injustice and build the structures of righteousness. We ask all this in the mighty name of Jesus, who stood with the oppressed, who challenged the powerful, who spoke truth, who demanded justice, who gave his life for freedom, who conquered death, who rose victorious. In his name we pray. Amen. Walk in truth. Demand justice. Remember Fannie Lou Hamer. You are free because she refused chains. Honor that freedom by using it. Honor her sacrifice by fighting. Honor her legacy by winning. Until next time, tell their stories. Demand reparations. Never forget. This is your history. This is your inheritance. This is your power. Now go use it. Fannie Lou Hamer. Say her name. Remember her story. Continue her fight. That's how she lives forever. That's how we win. That's how justice prevails. God bless you. Stay strong. Keep fighting. The victory is ours.